This is a breaking news emergency episode for you guys. Etsy search has changed and now it includes listing descriptions. So, this episode, I want to talk about the change and give you guys some do's and don'ts when it comes to this specific change that Etsy just rolled out. Let's dive in. All right, guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. This is an extra bonus emergency breaking news, extra read all about it episode. I'm your host, LL, and I'm here today to talk about the recent algorithm change. Don't freak out. I know anytime there's a change with Etsy, people hold their breath, people freak out. You got to roll with the punches on these changes, guys. This is inevitable. There will consistently be changes. If you don't like change, you're probably not going to want to continue to sell online. I hate to break it to you, but I don't want to give you guys fluff. There's always going to be changes, good and bad, when it comes to selling on any platform, even outside of Etsy. So the biggest thing I want to talk about is the specific change and give you guys some do's and don'ts when it comes to this change, since it is kind of new. However, you should have been doing this stuff all along as a best practice. So the algorithm now considers keywords and phrases in your descriptions when ranking listings in search. So all the information that you're putting in your descriptions now counts towards search. Now, it has always counted when considering if you're doing like offsite ads through Etsy, and those are run through like Google. Google has always pulled description information. That's why it's always been a good practice to actually take the time and do good descriptions. And you should have been doing that anyways, like I said, for your customers' benefit, because good descriptions will help your customers make their decisions and give them their information that they need so that they can feel comfortable buying from you. But at the end of the day, this is a good thing. It can only help your shop. It can only give the algorithm more information to help rank your listing even higher if you're doing things the right way, which I'm going to talk about in this episode for you guys to help you out and give you the do's and don'ts. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this change and what it means and how to handle it in your shop with some do's and don'ts. So the main thing to keep in mind is you want to try to incorporate relevant keywords in the first few sentences of your listing. So that is what the algorithm is really keying in on, is those first couple sentences in your listing. So make sure that you are putting relevant keywords that apply to your listing. As always, this should be the same for your titles and tags. So you want to make sure you put those relevant keywords in the first couple sentences of your descriptions. Another don't copy your title verbatim. Don't copy and paste your title into your description and have that be the first sentence or the first phrase. You want to try and rewrite that so that it makes more sense, that it is an actual sentence, that it's written for humans. Don't just copy and paste. You want to change that up a little bit. Doesn't mean you can't use some of the same keywords, but you want to try and avoid just writing the title verbatim. Don't just list keywords you want to rank for. This is something that I've seen even in the past that people do. They just list a literal paragraph of keywords, and that's it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just random keywords listed in a paragraph. This is not good. The algorithm will not like this. It'll be able to identify what you're trying to do. Basically, you're trying to game the system. Not only that, it looks really, really spammy to buyers, which is the most important. You don't want people coming to your listing and it looks like a spam listing. They're going to feel really uncomfortable about buying from you because they're going to be like, what the heck is this? There's 100 just random words shoved into this listing, and they know it doesn't look right and it's not supposed to be there. So don't try to game the system. Do it naturally where it makes sense. Do write sentences talking about your product that naturally incorporates relevant, important keywords. So similar to what I was just talking about, you should write out actual sentences. I was trying to give myself a tongue twister here. That make sense. That if someone reads it, it's not going to be weird. It's not going to be written for non-human. So make sure it flows. Just act like you're talking to someone on the phone. If someone is asking you about what you're selling, how are you going to describe that? How are you going to phrase those words into a sentence where it makes sense? So think about your audience, think about your buyer, and write your sentences in a descriptive way naturally using keywords that make sense. Kind of along the same lines, do right for humans and not for robots, like I just said. It needs to make sense. It needs to flow. Can't be weird. Not trying to make your stuff weird. So don't overthink this, guys. And that's the one thing that people are going to definitely do with this. They're going to go in and rewrite all their descriptions and really overthink this. A lot of you guys your descriptions are probably fine. So just think of it this way and definitely go in and double check stuff, but don't overthink everything. Do continue to add, and this is a big one, do continue to add additional relevant information about your products that your buyers need to know, such as specs, sizing, washing instructions, ordering instructions, etc. Anything that a customer needs to know in order to make the decision to buy from you, you want to put in your descriptions, but just add it after the first few sentences where you're describing your product. And then you're going to align that information. And that stuff can be the same. You want to change up your descriptions so they shouldn't be identical. Even if products are really similar, you still want to change up those first couple sentences. But if you're selling the same type of product, such as mugs or shirts or art, and the rest of the specs and information in there is the same, you can still use that same information. You can still create a template. It's not going to hurt you. It's just those first couple of sentences, obviously you're not selling the exact same product. So you want to mix up how you're describing your item, what are the keywords, because those things will change even if it's the same subject matter. So think about it that way. And honestly, with this change, it may be a good time to go back and review your descriptions anyways. You should always have this in your workflow where you're going back and reviewing keywords, your descriptions, your titles, your tags periodically, just to make sure that they don't need updated. Because a lot of times what happens is once you learn stuff, you may make those changes, but then you forget about your old listings and you have to go back and update those as well. So set a periodic timestamp in your workflow that you're going back and updating this stuff anyways, because like I've always said, your shop and your listings aren't a set it and forget it. You need to be routinely working on them, improving them. If you have the set it and forget it mentality, your shop is just going to be stagnant and you're not going to see growth. It's not magic. You can't just throw it out to the Etsy hemisphere, stratosphere, whatever you want to call it, and it just work nonstop forever. You gotta continue to go back in and check it. So what I would do and what I'm going to do with myself is just set a weekly goal of how many listings that I want to go back and revisit. So I know mine, a lot of mine actually need to be updated for sure. So I'm going to probably go back and set a weekly goal of a certain number of listings that I'm going to update, or a certain section, because I have a bunch of different sections breaking out my different subject matter. And I'm going to do maybe a section a week or half a section a week, depending on how big it is, something like that, until I get them all updated. So set that goal for yourself to go back in and look at them. Even if you think your descriptions are good, it's probably a good time just to go in and double check things like I said. And another thing that you guys can use is a bulk editing tool such as Vela to speed things up. So I'll include a link to this third-party website in the show notes where you can sync your shop and you can bulk edit your listing descriptions. You can bulk edit in Etsy as well. It's just not as granular as Vela. Etsy really only allows you to do like mass bulk edits, whereas Vela, you can list out all your listings and then click into each one and edit the description, but it is in a list form. So you can do it a lot faster than going in and individually clicking through each listing in Etsy, because you really can't bulk edit with these specific changes. So I'll include that link below to help you guys out do this a lot faster and be able to sort, by section and by listings to do those edits that way. That should help you guys out. So everything's going to be cool. I just wanted to bring this episode to you guys because it is an important change. I think it'll be a really good change, a beneficial change for you guys. And it's just another way to get some high quality keywords relevant to your listings in your listings to help you rank better in search. The more keywords you have in your listings, the more potential for buyers you have, the more potential for sales you have, which is always a good thing. So look at it that way. Break out your listings, look at your descriptions, set a little bit of time each day and each week to chip away at this. But stay positive. This is going to be a good thing, guys. I wanted to bring this to you, but I'll be back soon with another good episode. Hopefully this helps clear the air and let you guys know some of the good best practices and what this change means to your shop. I'll talk to you guys later.